Hey guys, my name is Lily, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite books of 2019. Now, most of these books were not published in 2019, they're just books I read in 2019. But yeah, I do not own most of these books, but without further ado, let's just get right into it. So number 10 is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I give this one a 5 out of 5 stars. This was my last book of 2019. I completely fell in love with it. The story is about a young boy named Connor who his mother has cancer, and he has this nightmare about her dying. And this monster comes to visit him and tells him 3 tales. And after the 3 tales, on the 4th tale, it's Connor's tale, his nightmare, what he's been going through. And it's just a sad story. I loved it so much. It was awesome. I loved it. Number 9 is Shadow Me by Tahereh Mafi. I read this, I don't know, I think after Ava Lavender. I think I read it. And I fell in love with it from the very first page, very first sentence. I just loved it, loved it, loved it. I give all these 5 out of 5 stars, so I just loved it. Yeah, it was so good. So good. Number 8, it was Stolen Girl, which I actually have here. Stolen Girl. I read this after I read another book, which we mentioned in a little bit. And this follows a young girl named Nadia, who has been haunted by World War II, and she's trying to remember who she really is, and it's just such an incredible story. I love World War II novels, and this was an amazing one. This was my third one I read, and I loved it. The next book is The World Below by the same author, which is, I don't know how to pronounce her name. But I read this after I read Stolen Girl, and this follows Luca, and he's kind of like running from the concentration camp he got out of, and he's in the Red Cross. I think that's what it's called. Is it? I think so. And I love Luca, so it was awesome to read a book in his perspective, and I loved it. Number 6 is Making Moms for Hitler by the same author, and this one is the first one I read out of the 3 books, and this follows Lita, who was taken from her grandmother with her sister in the middle of the night, and was taken to a concentration camp, and it's just about her in this concentration camp and everything. So I really, really loved this book. It was incredible, and I loved following Stolen Girl and The World Below. Luca is from Making Moms for Hitler, as well as Nadia. I just loved all of these characters. I never wanted to let them go, and I made my friend read the series, and she loved it as well. I highly, highly recommend it if you love World War II novels, or if you love historical fiction. It's a middle grade as well, so it was just very, very good. And number 5 is Don't Tell the Nazis by the same author. It's a standalone novel following a girl named Christia during the Nazi ruling of World War II. It's like 1941 to 1943, I think. And she lives in Ukraine. All these people from all 4 of these books are Ukrainian. So it just follows, well, not everyone. The main characters usually are Ukraine. But so it just follows her life, and her life just sucks. Just sucks, man. I loved it so much. I love Christia, and I love the world that Marcia creates with these books. Number 4 is Red Queen. I read this as my first book once school started, and I read it as a recommendation from my librarian, and I loved it. I loved Mare. The plot twist caught me by surprise when I was so mad when it caught me by surprise. I was like, why did I not see this? But I loved it. It's about, so this world, there are silvers and there are reds. Reds have red blood and do not have powers. They're the poor, and everything. And silvers have silver blood, and they have powers, and they are the rich, and all this stuff. And Mare is red, and she's special. That's all I really know. That's all I really knew going into it. I loved it so much. I have yet to read the next book in the series, but I'm pretty bad with series. So, yeah. And these next 3 are in order of top 3 to number 1. The other ones were just in any order, I guess. But my third favorite of the year was The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. This book, I read it because when I found BookTube, I saw that book everywhere. Even though I was watching videos from like 5 years ago, I saw it on all those videos, and I was like, okay, I have to read this. It sounds like up my alley. So it follows Ava Lavender, her mother, her grandmother. I don't know if it's her great grandma too. I'm not sure. And it follows them all the way up to her, and then it follows her, and she has wings. She is born with wings. It was beautiful. I read this after I was out of my craze of Maximum Ride. I loved this. This is my first YA besides the Gone series. I loved it so much. It was beautiful. It was whimsical. I loved the writing. I loved the story. I loved Ava. And I hated Nathaniel the whole time. I hated him from the very beginning. Well, from the very first time he was in the book. And I was right about him. Just gonna say that. I have problems. My second favorite book of the year is The Land of Roar by Jenny McLaughlin. And this follows the 2 twins. When they were little, they created this place called Roar. And now the twins are 11, and Arthur starts to see strange things, and he believes that maybe, just maybe, Roar is real. These are my babies now. These are added to my collection. Oh, you can't even see it. Can you see it? No, you can't see it. My bookshelf's over there. All my babies over there. Yeah, they're all my babies over there. And this book is definitely added to it. This is added to my I have 2 shelves that just have like one series, and then this book, and then I have other shelves that are just stacked books and stuff. This is on my series standout books, and I just fell in love with this world, and I love everything. There's pictures in here. I will show you just a few of my favorites. Not too long, because I don't want to spoil you. A few of my favorites. That's a good one. I have, like, the villain. Okay, this is a good one. That one. It's the villain. It's very scary. Oh, yes, this one. I like that one. This one's amazing, too. But, I love the pictures. I love the characters. They're so realistic. Like, Rose is so realistic. The relationship between the main 2 characters, Rose and Arthur, are very, very realistic. And it's very funny. This book is very funny. And I just love this book. I don't know how. I just can talk about this all day. It's such a good book. And I do recommend this to people. But at my school, they don't have this at the library. So I can't recommend people this at the library because they don't have it. But I just loved this book. I loved everything. I loved the conflicts in this book. I loved all the characters, even Croaky. And he was something. It's also him. He's also right here. Also, it's Croaky. It's the villain, Croaky. I mean, they're facing their worst fears, their happiest dreams, and their worst fears. Which, Croaky, it's a nightmare in itself. So yeah, I clearly gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars and cannot stop raving about it. Sorry. And my number 1 book I read this year, which, if you read this book, you guys might not think it's a surprise, but I read this after Shatter Me. I'm pretty sure this is my book after Shatter Me, after, like 3 DNFs. whatever. And that is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I read this again because of the hype with Cassandra Clare, and I'm like, well, I can't read Clockwork Princess. Angel, because I need to start from the beginning. So I read City of Bones, and it was during MCAS too. I read it, and I devoured it. I loved it. I loved the plot twist at the end. I kind of hated it at first because I was like, but Claire and Jace? What? And then I was just like, okay, I guess. And as I read the second book, I was like, yeah, this is the beauty of that plot twist now. The beauty coming to be. I've not read City of Glass, which I really do want to. It just intimidates me because it's big. It's a big girl. Or boy, I don't know what it is. It's a big book. But City of Bones, I don't know how to explain it. And if you don't know what it's about, I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you've been. Search it up on Google. It's very, very interesting. I loved all the characters. I loved Jace and Mia. Is it Mia? Or is it Maya? I always forget. So, I think it's Mia. I don't know. It might be Maya. I don't know, but that werewolf girl, I love her from book 2. But I loved Simon, I loved Claire, I loved Jace, I loved Alec and Isabel. And other characters that I can't remember right now. But I just loved this book, and it was everything I needed it. And then my friend read it, and I was like, Caitlin, you better hurry up because I gotta return this book. You know that, right? It's a library book. I have to return it soon. But I loved it, and it was just my life. And I really do need to read City of Glass. And I am making myself read all the books that are intimidating to me through the months of February to March. If you guys want to join and read your books that you're intimidated by, that's cool. I'm just gonna read them, like City of Glass, Skyward, Throne of Glass, Cinder, The Burning Maze, Monster, other books that I can't think of right now. But for February and March, I will be reading the books that intimidate me the most. And I will be reading some sequels as well, because I really do need to get on with some sequels, like Glass Sword and Burning Maze and stuff, and City of Glass. So yeah, I'll be reading the books that intimidate me the most. If you guys want to do it and join me, that's cool. Tell me in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And thank you guys for the lovely comments you guys commented me on my last video. They were so sweet. I will link my last video in the description box below. If you guys want to go watch that if you haven't. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!